afternoon, Yuba Sutter. So Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight, and we're going to be live for the next 2 hours out here at Mount Huth.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We're live and in your face.
Now, Jason,
or will be soon.
I heard that on that song it said there's going to be a meter on our bed. Can you elaborate on that?
It'll disclose what everybody already knows. And just to be clear, it won't be on our bed. It'll be on everyone's bed. So, to kick it off with, I just want to throw this out there. The Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight has got its first donation this week. You know, we haven't been putting out there that we want to do any ads. We've been doing them for free. But this lady, this person came to us.
Now, I heard it was a lady.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a lady. It was a person. Came to us and said, you know, I'm usually pretty political, and I've always been on the spectrum of giving to a candidate. But she said, this year I want to give to you guys because she said I want two candidates to be campaigned against. And I was, wow, okay. Well, what do you want us to do? And she said, I'm willing to pay for the shirts and for you guys to give them out, hand them out, sell them, whatever you want to do with them. I'm willing to pay for them, screen print them, everything. She says, all you guys got to do is put the artwork together, and I want them to say, Chuck Buck and Can Stan. So Chuck, John Buckland, and Can Stan Cleveland. So we're on it.
So people out there in our listening audience should know that John Buckland and Stanley Cleveland are the incumbents that will be running for Yuba City Council.
2/3 of the trash trio.
Yes. And the other third of the trash trio isn't going to run again. She's going to hold off and run for supervisor. Mm-hmm. But I think we got a candidate in mind that it can beat her, so we're not too worried about that. We'll see in 2 years.
So did the gal or the individual person, are the graphics up to us?
The graphics are totally up to us. All we've got to do is get the graphics up and running. So we're going to step out to maybe a couple different people that we know to get the graphics designed and take the best design that we get. And then we're going to give it to them, the person, and they will take it to the screen printers and off to the races, and we'll get the shirts delivered, and we can start handing them out at the next events and things like that and getting them out on the street. So it ought to be pretty interesting. I think it's the first time that it's actually been done that you're going to see campaigning against certain individuals and certain people, but that it'll be fun. I guarantee it'll be fun.
It's sending a message that people maybe want something different.
I think
They're wanting to change.
I think people have been to the city council chambers one too many times and feeling like their voice has fallen on deaf ears. And whenever I ran my campaign, I said I'd be the passionate voice of the people. Well, guess what? I think God had another alternative for me to do.
Oh, you're still a passionate voice.
Exactly, of the people. And I think it's just that I was led down a different path than was initially. Because, I can be a lot more vocal here.
You're much more valuable as a private citizen.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just what he had in mind of get your feet wet, get into politics, learn about it, learn how it runs, and now go kick the crap out of somebody.
Yeah, I like that little slogan Rush uses. Rush Limbaugh, where troublemakers like you end up, or his teacher used to say, where troublemakers like
on the radio.
Yeah, on the radio.
Hey, and then I had a fire captain who always told me, Jet Reichard, it's not a good day until you hurt somebody emotionally.
And you try to live up to that ever since.
Is there any day that you don't offend somebody?
I'm sure there's been one or two. Because there has been days when I haven't left the house, and I've been just stayed at the pool and kicked it. So I'm sure there's some days that I haven't hurt somebody emotionally. I just don't know where they are.
Not emotionally, just offend somebody. Because I'm pretty sure I hold the record for that on a daily basis. And if you're not working hard enough.
I'm sure I offended a few people last week and the week before. For sure.
I know you did on Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? If you can't take it, then you need to find a new political arena to be in because it's rough around this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to get rougher because we have a corrupted mess in both these counties.
I think they call that in our neck of the
the
woods
swamp.
the
A swamp?
Sutter gutter.
So the
Oh,
gutter.
the Sutter gutter. Yeah.
The gutter is about as transparent as mud
Yeah. Gee.
and getting worse daily.
Oh boy. Did you want to tell? You had some story of non-compliance that you wanted to talk about. Did you want to talk about that
I
yet?
guess I can talk about that.
I think I've heard it, but I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm non-compliant, that's for sure. When it comes to my God-given inalienable rights, I'm going to exercise them.
That's right.
And I don't care if, who doesn't like it. So I went to my wife said, "Hey, I saw this shirt, and I really like it, so I want you to go get it." For she wants me to have the shirt. Usually it's the other way around. Okay, so we go to the store, and there's the shirt, and I said, "Okay, well, I'll try it on." And I've been married 40 years, so
She is a saint,
we yes,
right?
she's
She
doing
is.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we go to the we see the girl in the store, and I said, "Hey, can we get the dressing room open?" And no problem. So we go to the dressing room, and she asked how many items you have, and we said one. We held it up, just one, and she unlocked the door. Okay. So I go in the dressing room, and my wife's coming in behind me, and she says, "Oh, no. Your wife can't go in there, or you can't go in there." And I said, "What?" She says, "Yeah, that's policy. Only one person in the dressing room at a time." And I said, "We've been married 40 years, and we go in the dressing room together all the time. And we've even got totally undressed before together."
So next we're going to have a meter on the dressing room.
I didn't tell her that. I just said that here. But
Thank you.
so
That's
anyway,
great information. I'm getting a visual here.
then I said, "No, come on, Mary, let's get in here," and close the door. And so then my wife, not being as bold as I am, she immediately she turned around and went back out, and the girl was on the radio, to call the upper echelon, I guess. So I tried the shirt on. She waited for me outside.
Did you do a fashion show? Did you come out and show her?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure. She wants to see the shirt.
Yeah.
So I went out, showed her the shirt. Yeah, we like it. I went back in, put my regular shirt on, put it back on the hanger, and I went back out and I said, "We're not buying this shirt here, okay? Because I don't like being treated like a thief at the store where I'm spending hundreds of dollars." And so I walked by and I told the girl, I said, "We're not buying our shirt here. Matter of fact, we're not shopping at this store anymore because you're treating us like thieves." Now, not everybody is a thief. So, and I said, "I want to talk to the manager." So then she called the manager. He came down, and I gave him the same story. And then we left.
So when
So-
she radioed, the clerk, she radioed, but nobody showed up?
No, because my wife came back out, and she was compliant.
She was submissive
Yes.
to the demand.
Yes. That's not my usual character, to be submissive to the demand.
Yeah, I got you.
So, anyway,
Well, if you only had one shirt and there was two of you in there, what were you going to steal?
I
mean,
have
the
no
pins,
idea.
The pins that come out of the shirt?
There
The
wasn't-
tag
Yeah.
off the shirt? I mean, really?
There wasn't a bed in there, was there?
No.
No meters
no,
or
just a little bench.
Did they not have one of those ink things when you try to, the little thing that they adhere to
Yeah.
merchandise?
I don't know. I didn't get that deep into it, man. I just wanted to check out the shirt. But
So you checked it out and then went home and ordered it on
no.
Amazon Prime?
No, actually, we went to another store in town that was Western Wear.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, they had the same exact shirt. And, well, I told the manager, I said, you know, we're going to go to another store. And where we're not treated like thieves for trying to go into the dressing room.
Was
So-
there an apology?
Yeah, he apologized, you know, but we're just trying, you know, we got store policy and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, you know, that store policy is going to hurt you because I won't bow to it. Okay. And I spent thousands already in your store.
Yeah.
So.
So
anyway.
now that we all know it was Western wear, did you pick up a pair of spurs and chaps for old Dennis Houck?
Yeah, because he needs some. He needs some to go with that hat.
Oh, I got
No.
spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle as I go riding merrily along.
I can see big deal traffic cop coming to a halt for a little while.
No, I don't want to donate any more than I already do.
Okay,
To
gotcha.
the public employees program. So, so anyway, I went to the other store and got the shirt. We happened to have a few, you know, points. We get some points over there at that other store and some discounts.
So you're not going to use your platform to name out the stores?
I'm going to cut them a little slack.
Cut them a little
What?
slack?
Yeah.
You're gonna.
Man, this
Are you
whole
feeling
story,
okay,
and now
Tom?
you're just.
Huh?
Are you feeling okay?
I think
Not
Tom's
turning
been
soft,
exposed to a
right?
little too much
I might
sun.
have a fever. I don't
Yeah.
know. No, I'm not vicious, you know,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to comply with everything.
How about vehement? You're not vicious,
No,
but you're vehement.
I vehemently believe what I
Oppose.
believe. Yes, yes, yeah. I'm strong
Oppose
about
compliance.
That. Yes.
You vehemently
Right.
oppose
No,
compliance.
I can comply with certain things, but other things I'm just not going to comply with. You know. Matter of fact, I got me a little sticker on my truck that says "We will not comply." So.
I got one of those.
Yes, you got one. I got another one, man. It's been in reserve. I'm just looking for the perfect place to put it.
You know, I got a bumper sticker talking about Can Stan and Chuck
Chuck Buck.
Buck.
Yeah.
That it says politicians should do 2 terms, right? One in office and one in prison.
Oh, you got a bumper sticker like that. I like that. Yeah.
We're trying to change
That reminds me of Leland Yee, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
there you
Leland
go.
Yee.
The arms dealer.
Yeah. Did we? He
Democratic
was
arms
so
dealer.
against the Second Amendment, right?
Yes.
And then we find out in his spare time he's running guns, man. I'll never forget where I was when I heard that.
He's probably already out and back running guns again, you know?
Well,
I
I
don't
think
know.
he's in a white collar prison.
Oh, with the mafioso. I watched The Godfather the other day.
He can't see the evil eye.
I'm hoping he's getting a bed ready for Hillary.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right, so we're going to give an update on our the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republican headquarters and the first event that we had on Thursday. That was awesome.
Let's do that.
I had
Let's
fun.
do that.
I had a good time.
I had most of a good time. I was, you know, I'm gonna get in Yuba County's face. I'm really disappointed in the Republicans over here, if there are any. I mean, there's 5 of us here now. I was born in Yuba County. My grandparents and great-grandparents helped make this county a success. Where in the hell were you Republicans?
So at the Yuba County event, there were only a handful of Sutter County people that put on the event. Is that right?
Pretty much,
Well,
yeah.
let's paint the picture so
that
in
was-
case somebody isn't aware of what's going on.
Okay, well, so Mr. Roditas and Mr. Moisier, Mark Moisier's running for Secretary of State, and Constantino Roditas is running for California Controller. They rolled into Yuba County. They had asked the Central Committee, no response. They had asked another party, no response. So they finally settled on the state of Jefferson to greet them in Yuba County, and Stephanie McKenzie showed up, and young Pedigo showed up, and Randy Fletcher
Was
showed
he on
up.
time?
He was late. Yeah, and
Does it surprise you?
and a few local people, mostly young Pedigo's friends. They showed up, and several of us from Sutter County showed up. But I'm really disappointed with Yuba County because after the state of Jefferson greeting in Sutter County, we had the Yuba Sutter. That's Yuba and Sutter.
Yep.
Yuba first, because we like Yuba and Sutter.
It rolls off the tongue easier.
Rolls off the
Yuba
tongue
Sutter.
much easier, yes. And we had that event, and unfortunately, there was only one Republican there from Yuba County. So I'm really, I don't know what's going on over here. I know there's Republicans,
And he was a candidate.
and he was a candidate. That's right.
Where's all his people? Yep. So anyway, that was the main event of the day, at least for us anyway, at the brand new, the grand opening Yuba Sutter Republican headquarters located at 441 Bridge Street, Suite E for Elephant, because that's what we are.
That's right.
And I want to say to elaborate on the two guys that came through. They were actually on a bicycle riding tour
Yes.
across the
They
state.
were.
5,000 miles.
Yeah, and I think that was a landmark that they hit all 58 counties by the time they got to Sutter County. That was their last county to hit.
Yep.
But that didn't stop them. After that, they rode through the night on their bicycles up into Butte County.
Yeah, they went to Oroville.
Oroville, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
It was really cool when they were fast.
Yes.
So they had the police escort, right?
yeah, they had a police escort
And they
coming in.
blew right past us. We're like, whoa!
Yeah.
So then they came back. And they rode their bicycles right into the headquarters. It was, well, we told them, you have to do that because previously they had a theft of said bicycles in Nevada County.
And, I remember that story from not too long ago. There was I think it was Lance Armstrong
Yeah,
might have had
the-
his bicycle
Yeah,
stolen or
on the
something, right?
Amgen tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bicycle thieves out there, man.
Well, and they're
That's
all
for
riding
sure.
up and down Simpson Lane. I mean, if you've got a bike missing, you ought to check it out.
Yeah, watch out
So-
for those potholes.
This was a whistle stop tour, and they wanted to meet at the county seat or something similar.
It's county seat in every county.
In
yeah.
every county, like the old campaigns used to do. Yeah. So it was very good, and I really liked Constantino.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
liked them both.
for-
Constantino
for,
was more
uh,
constitutional.
Yeah. But he laid out a tax plan for the state of California that was excellent.
Didn't take them too long to get through it, if I recall,
Yeah.
because it's a basic,
Yeah. Simple.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, simple.
And-
And then the whole crux of it was to put it under local control.
Right.
The way it was intentionally modeled to be
Right.
is where the more authority lies with the local community, the people.
Federalize the state. Take the power away from them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very well done. Both of those guys laid out their agenda, and they did a good job on it. So I was impressed.
Yeah, he wanted to kill the state income tax and let that be determined by your locale, by your county.
And they were also pushing the gas, to
Repeal.
repeal the
Yeah.
gas tax.
Yep.
So I think that's Proposition 6 or
Yep.
something. Yeah.
And
And,
Mark Moisier, he wanted to get in, and what did he say? There was only 3 of the databases being used out of 11 or 13 that the state could use to clear the voter rolls.
Hmm.
And
I think these guys were riding bikes just to avoid paying the gas tax.
they
too.
may be, I don't know. But
You know?
it gives them a lot of time to think, and they're thinking pretty darn
Yeah.
good for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you check out those seats they had?
They did not look too comfortable.
Ow! Whoa! Man,
Because I think they wear the shorts with the padding in them.
that's what they said.
Yeah, if you wear the shorts with the padding in them, it's much better.
But they're definitely getting the miles down.
Well,
'Cause I think you said-
I was very impressed with their knowledge and understanding of the Constitution. They both understood their constitutional role within the positions that they were applying for.
Yes.
And I really appreciated that. I appreciated Mark Moisier recognizing that we live in a republic and not calling it a democracy.
Yes.
We really appreciated that. We super appreciated Roditas's very good explanation of his constitutional role, and he just really has a thorough grasp of how the whole model of government is supposed to work.
It was refreshing.
Very refreshing.
Yes.
And they were very personable. Moisture, one of the things that he said is there's a lot of dead people that vote in
Yes.
California,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, he did say that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Something
I
like
don't know. I
100
guess they're exhuming them and dragging their bones down there.
Well, they have like 130% voter turnout in Southern California.
yeah,
He was throwing out some
Yes.
figures that, yeah.
a lot of that down in L.A. County.
One
Yeah.
lady was really upset because her father-in-law voted, and he'd been dead for 5 years.
Yes. Yes. When
Yeah.
she went to vote, she'd
Yeah.
seen he'd already voted.
Wow.
Down in Orange County, he gave the figure of 108,000 people went to vote, and they were off the voter rolls.
Yeah,
But
116,000.
I thought it was 180.
I don't know. There was a boatload full, I know. And they were gone.
Yeah.
I guess that's one way to
Yeah.
purge the polls.
So anyway, both those guys did well, and they have a good plan. We also had the Mr. Boomgarden speak, and then we had.
Well, before we get on that, I'm going to share a text I got from a listener who wanted to express. They were there at the event, and they wanted to express that Moisier was explaining how he's going to be cleaning up those voter rolls,
Yes.
and he was an election attorney, and he comes from that realm and he understands what needs to be done, and that was part of his plan. He's going to be looking at election integrity and cleaning up those election rolls. I mean, yeah, that's what they're called.
Voter rolls.
Voter rolls. Mhm. So, but going to Tom's point, we do want to recognize that we had a number of local candidates that we invited to come and share some time with us because we knew that our event started at 7 and the guys weren't going to be rolling in until 8:30. So, yes, we had Mark Boomgarden got up and spoke. We had David Shaw, both of those gentlemen running for Yuba City Council. We had Sheriff candidate Brandon Barnes. I just want to call him Sheriff Brandon Barnes already. I guess I have to
But
throw
right now
in
he's
candidate.
Captain Brandon Barnes.
Captain Barnes running for Sutter County Sheriff. And also John Missler, who is launching a write-in campaign for Yuba County.
5th District, Yuba County.
yes,
John, you need to get some bigger signs right in put on top of those signs you got out there. Put a good size right in.
yeah,
Big
I saw
red,
one.
yellow,
I saw
yeah.
one. It was
People are saying that right in thing you put on is too small.
oh. So anyway, that John Missler's campaign, I believe he's going to win.
I do too.
So
I really
and
do.
He's going to win it by a write-in.
Well, and the whole thing
So-
is, Monty Hecker needs to get a hold of us. He hasn't called us yet, but apparently that's kind of his campaign manager for this thing. So we need to talk to him about getting an event set up for him over there and getting some Yuba County Republicans out and over to our headquarters for an event for him. It needs to happen. So if you're listening, Monty, give us a call. We'd like to talk to you.
Does Yuba County have a central committee?
I know they don't have a headquarters, so I don't know if they've got a central committee anymore
I
or not.
understood there's 5 people left. Maybe not. I don't know.
It must be so low-key that we don't know about it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Well, we have a joint headquarters over in Yuba City, so they need to come on board.
We welcome you aboard, Yuba County.
There were many members of the Sutter County Republican Central Committee at the event, which was great.
Yes.
Yeah, I was glad to see them. I really was. I talked to one of them, but it's just I didn't have time. We were kind of busy, but I really do appreciate you showing up, and it was nice to have them there for that to make a showing.
And our campaign headquarters now is well set up.
Yes.
It's well on its way. We'll get our
Yes.
curtains this week.
Yes.
Once we get our curtains in, we're about finished. I think we're right there on the cusp of being 100% finished. By this weekend, we should be dialed in 100%.
We put some more finishing touches on yesterday. We were
Yeah.
there, and
Were they in the restroom?
one of the finishing touches was in the restroom.
Okay.
Yep.
Needed
Beautiful,
some artwork
beautiful
in there.
picture in there.
Really?
Really
It's a
need to come see
surprise.
it, yeah.
Really?
Yep. You went,
So people just need to stop by
yep. Stop
and
by
have
and
the
use
restroom experience.
Yes.
Buy a little Trump gear.
We got
Drink a
our
couple of sodas before you come,
and we got our green screen up, so now we can start doing our
Facebook
weekly, our weekly Facebook lives and our weekly news stuff, because the news stuff we'll have to pre-record and then put up on Facebook afterwards, because we got to adjust the green screen stuff around it. So we'll get that fired up. I think we're going to do our first Facebook live out of there this week. I'm getting our mics set up in our conference room, and then we also got to finish off all the interviews with all the candidates.
And I realized this morning we had moved all our mixing board and equipment over to the headquarters, so you couldn't do any new little things for our show.
I know. I'm going to probably buy a mixing board for home. That way we got one at home, and we've got two at the headquarters now, because we used the other one out in the actual activity area, and then
Yeah.
we used one in the conference room. So we're going to need one more. So we'll get it all figured out. I think we have enough mics now for our conference room, so we'll be set up. We should be operational by probably Thursday night. We should see probably your Facebook Live, first Facebook Live coming out of there Thursday night. And yeah, we'll be set up to start doing weekly reports and updates on the candidates and things like that.
And then as campaign season kicks off, we can get some people in there and do phone calls,
Yes, we want to do a call center.
call center.
And we're going to kind of do a call center like they used to do with, the old PBS network, where we'll do a Facebook
The
Live.
telethon.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do a
Yes,
telethon type
yes.
thing and get some of the candidates to swing by and do a little
Join
show.
us.
Well,
Sure.
maybe do candidate karaoke or something while they're, it was brought up. If you
Yes.
were there, you understand what we're talking about. If you're not, you're lost.
Yeah.
Some of the candidates were talking about singing, because we do have a stage in there. In the headquarters, and they were like, "Well, I'm going to sing," and then the other one said, "Well, I'll sing," and then we got a candidate karaoke. I think is what Liz came up with. And so,
Yes.
yeah, we're going to have candidate karaoke one night.
Now that's kind of a mystery to me. Hearing about that, are these guys singers?
No,
I
that's
don't know.
the beauty of
That's
it. The
gonna be
worse you
awesome.
are, the better.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought maybe they were self-proclaimed vocalists. Maybe.
yeah. Well,
So we're going to find out, huh?
So it ought to be fun, because we didn't have any alcohol the last time, because we didn't quite get our license together in time, so we had to take all of our alcohol out that we planned on selling and giving away and whatever. We had to take that all out, get it all out of there, so it took like 3 truckloads home. So now
Truckloads.
we just left it there until we do get our alcohol license. So
It's
we should have
aging.
that. What's that?
It's aging.
It's aging.
Yeah. It'll be better once it gets out.
Now I don't know if this is legal or not, but can we get a still or something like that?
You mean like a chainsaw? STHIL?
Yes, that's what I meant. Did I say still? I meant steel.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay.
So,
We got to go to break real quick. Just hold that thought. Just real quick. Let me get this fired up, and we'll go to break here for just a second. Well, maybe we will. If I can remember the password to my computer that wow. Really?
has anybody got
Here we
Jason's
go.
password?
There we go. I got it now. Here we go.
This is Yuba County Sheriff Steve Durfer. I fully endorse Captain Brandon Barnes to be your next Sutter County Sheriff. I've worked with Captain Barnes for over 20 years. Brandon is a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy. He was our former SWAT commander and chief of investigations, and now holds one of the highest positions in law enforcement as jail commander. He leads and manages a staff of over 80 personnel and an inmate population of almost 400. Folks, your sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in the county. Experience and character are critical. That's why 13 active California county sheriffs, including myself, endorse him. I am beyond confident that Captain Barnes has the skills, the temperament, and the vision to lead Sutter County. I believe this is the most important vote on your ballot. I encourage you to vote Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff 2018.
You, for the very first time, had true transparency in government. If I'm elected to the board, and I expect that I will, it'd be my intention that I will be very much involved in the day-to-day operations of the county to a larger degree than I have been even as a watchdog. So let me assure you, the public will know more about their government than they do today.
And I know Tammy believes there's only one candidate running for sheriff, but there is another one.
Oh, my uniform is so neat as I walk along the street, dressed so nicely from my bottom to the top. All the motorists in sight are incredibly polite, cause they know that I'm a big deal traffic cop.
Big deal.
My buttons is nicely shined, and what
Oh,
every
look at those buttons.
Oh, park in a loading zone. When a motor car I finds in a set of yellow lines, I just purses up my lips all thin and tight. First I scribbles out a ticket, tears it quickly out and lick it. Then I plucks it on the car with all my might. Bad luck, eh?
Bad luck, eh?
How I love to see
Okay, well, thank you for that, Dennis. You know, the problem is whenever Dennis does lose, it's going to take away a lot of our laugh fest out here.
What are we going to talk about?
Poor guy is, I mean, well, apparently, you know, I helped one of our candidates put out signs. I was out with Dave Shaw putting out signs until about 1 a.m. on whatever night it was that we could set out signs. And, you know, we started, I guess, about 11:45. And, of course, his wife was on Facebook already whining.
Wait a minute.
Not-
Clarify.
not Dave's
Whose
wife.
Not
Whose
Dave's wife.
Big deal
Karen-
traffic
yeah,
cop.
Big deal traffic cop's wife was on there whining that, you know, they're sitting on signs early. They're sitting on signs early. They're sitting on signs early. Does this guy do anything but whine and cry and complain?
You know, he has been the victim of online bullying.
So it's 15 minutes before midnight or something to that effect. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean,
okay.
we set him out about 15 minutes early. You know, whoo, that's a FPPC violation, apparently. That's, oh, boy.
What else did you see while you were out there?
Let's talk about that later. You know, Brandon Barnes, you just played
It's
a nice,
amazing what you
nice
see out after
commercial
midnight.
for Brandon Barnes.
Yes.
And we want to let everybody know that Jeff Pierce came in a very, very close third in this three-way race. And Jeff has given his full support behind Brandon Barnes now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
he
glad to hear
announced
it.
And everybody that voted for Jeff, please turn around and vote for Brandon, because Jeff thinks he's the only candidate with enough experience, especially jail experience, because that's what a great part of the county sheriff's duties are, is the jail.
Yeah, but, you know, it's been said that Houck has been out in public and understands and has the pulse of the people better. He's
Well,
a traffic cop.
He wants to be.
He's a traffic cop. He doesn't have the pulse of the people. What he's got is he's got a traffic job that nobody really wants to do, and he's not been a detective. He's not been any of this stuff. And Brandon's ran the detective department. He's ran every aspect of the police, of the sheriff's department, and has run the jail. And he's the commander of the jail. It isn't like he's done the job. He's actually ran the jobs that he's done. So there's a big difference there. And, you know, so go to a forum. If Houck will stick around for the forum, maybe you can learn what he's done. But usually he gets up and runs out and leaves.
So Captain America, Captain Sutter County, Captain Brandon Barnes,
Yes.
what is he up to now in, like, active sheriffs?
I don't even.
That support him, you mean?
Yeah, that
I think 18.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
18. How many does Dennis Houck have?
Apparently he has a couple of crickets.
So, I mean, even the sheriffs of the sheriffs want this guy to be sheriff.
Yeah.
And you say, what does it matter? Well, the sheriffs all work together. They do. They bounce stuff off each other. They work together, and they want Dennis to not be sheriff. They want Brandon Barnes. So, I mean, it says a lot right there.
And
So-
the Deputy Sheriff's Association wants Brendan Barnes to be sheriff.
Now, for me, the sheriff endorsement that really would carry the biggest weight would be DiAgostini
Me too.
out of Placer County, because that man is the constitutional sheriff.
Yes, he is.
And
if-
not all these endorsements that he has can fill those shoes.
But the thing about that DiAgostini is he's not only a constitutional sheriff. He doesn't have to say he's a constitutional sheriff. His
just-
actions prove
His
he's a
actions show it.
constitutional
Yes.
sheriff.
Yes.
You know, whatever. He'll stand up to the federal government and go, guess what? Not on my watch.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Or I will arrest you.
Yeah.
That's a strong statement.
Yeah. The man is doing his job like it's supposed to be done, and that should be a lesson for the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I
Yep.
believe.
So El Dorado County is the lucky county,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that's their sheriff.
Yes. And there is another Constitutional Sheriff's Association and Peace Officers Association. I mean, there is one called the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association.
CSPS.
Yes,
CSPOA.
organized by Sheriff Richard Mack. So, if any of you sheriff candidates are listening, you might take a
That's
good-
who Dennis ran out on, right?
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Threw
Uh,
something at him and then ran away before he could respond.
Yes.
Yes, that,
National speaker, recognized author of several books, and the founder and leader of the CSPOA, the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. That was the gentleman that he insulted and ran out of the room from.
Isn't Dennis a member of the National POS Association?
I believe he is an honorary member. Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe he was like the founding member.
Oh, boy. All right. We've given Dennis enough of our time, I think.
Yeah.
Don't you guys?
So hey, you know something we had at the getting back to the
Yes.
Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans headquarters, we had something there for all you Trump fans, and I'm going to let Liz explain just exactly what it was and how it went.
Last week, I think we discussed on this show that we had reached out to the official Trump outfitter, and she is, I don't know that she's listening. She knows about us, but her name is Lori, and she's in Michigan, and she had helped the Sacramento Republican Central Committee outfit their entire booth for the California Expositions, or Cal Expo. So we reached out to her, and she hooked us up with bunches of stuff. I think we have, over 17 different hat designs and 10 different T-shirt designs. We have buttons. We have dog bandanas. We have flags, the Trump flags, and the Don't Tread on Me flags.
Do you still have one of my favorite hats? Do you still got one of those left at least?
Americans are dreamers too.
No.
Was it to keep America great again?
No, there's one that's got the writing on the side, on the bill.
Oh,
That's his signature.
Oh, yeah.
Trump's signature.
Okay. Do you got one? Do you got one of those left?
I
Because
have one.
Okay, good. That was
That
mine.
is the most popular design.
Yes, it's going quick. I know, and I didn't pick one up. I was kind of
Well,
busy.
yeah.
So-
but we want other people to, because we can get it in the reorder. So let other.
I don't want to wait for the reorder.
You don't have to.
You know
We
how
got
I am.
you.
I'm instant gratification now.
We got you. We got you.
Okay.
There's going to be a meter on that hat, though.
Well, that's okay.
So much for your instant gratification.
No, it was a good night. We didn't get out of there. I didn't get home until like 12:30 at night.
Well, because when the majority of the people left, we stuck around with a bunch of people, and we were just playing games, and we had a good old time because we really didn't get to enjoy the event. The people who put on the event never get to enjoy the event.
Exactly.
And so when everybody left was our time that we got to play. What did we play? Blackjack for a little while, or
You
craps?
guys did. I lost at blackjack the whole time.
Yes, but you won like 38,000 fake dollars on craps.
Yes, I did. I did fairly well.
So we were wanting to go to Reno after that.
I tried to talk Tammy into driving to Reno that night because we could have been there by 2, and
You had to be to work at 3.
not if I was winning that way. They would understand. Because everybody at my work is a gambler, and they would totally understand with, I can't make it. So, other than that, I think the night went really, really well. I'm anxious to see what the other events turn out like, because that was the first one, just cutting our teeth, and it went really, really well. Now that we're going to have a meeting this week with everybody who was there, all our people who helped out and volunteers and everything, and we're going to see what we did wrong, what we can do different, because there are a few things. I mean, everything is learning curves. Just,
There's not a pecking order to that, is there?
No, there is no pecking order.
No, thank
and we're
you.
going to meet with a group that has a pecking order, but it's kind of funny.
Up until that night, I thought only chickens had a pecking order.
I did too. I didn't understand that.
Well, they are a bunch of hens.
Well, and I told them, they said, well, we want to meet with your upper people, and you need to meet with our upper people. And I'm going, oh, we don't have any upper people.
We don't have upper people. We just have our whole group. So if you want to meet with us, you can meet with the whole group.
We have a group, and if you want to deal with that, great. If you don't, well, then I don't know what to tell you. You can join us later. Because, we're kind of doing stuff.
And
we're busy.
We're not going to put out little signs that say the Honorable Jason Reichert or the Honorable Liz Cervantes. We're not into name recognition.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just into getting a job done.
All my name is going to do is drive people away. They're going to be scared to show up if my name's out there. So, leave that out.
So we're into getting a job done, right?
Exactly.
And the job is
getting guys elected.
Getting the people elected that want to line up with the Constitution.
That's right.
And like I say, I went out and helped put in signs, most of the night on whatever night it was. I think it was Wednesday night
It
or
was
Thursday
Tuesday night,
Tuesday night.
early into Wednesday.
Yes. It all last week all blurs together for me. Night, day.
Well,
And
it
then
was 11:45 Tuesday night.
Well, and
let's
then-
get that straight.
and then the next day I had a crane at 1 a.m. in the morning. So, I mean, there just wasn't much sleep there that week for me.
You had about an hour's sleep. You went home, got an hour's sleep. And then my son, who was at the event and he was volunteering, he left. And when he left, he only had 3 hours before he had to be back at work.
Yeah.
So, and then
And he left early.
And it's an hour
he left
drive.
early.
Yeah.
So you guys did signs, and everybody knows around town the signs are back up, right?
Yes, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They're in force.
So
Everybody
tell us about
If
that.
you can go 300 feet without seeing a Dave Shaw sign, we'll get another one out.
Tell us where the missing spots are, and
You
we'll fill
know,
it.
the one thing about the Dave Shaw signs that I just love, and you can interpret it any way you want, but he has a big bull, right, on his sign. And I think that people know that Dave Shaw is a local securities guy and a CPA, a tax guy, and people may automatically think that he's bullish, right, because that's what he does, is money. But, here in the Sutter Gutter in the Sutter County Zoo, it is no bull.
Mm-hmm.
The bull stops with Dave Shaw.
Yes.
No BS zone with
Well,
Dave Shaw.
We're
And not only
saving a
that-
special place down at Kumar's for a big sign for him because Stinky snuck in there and played on Kumar's good graces and put up a sign.
When was that?
2 or 3 days ago.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah,
I love
So,
Kumar.
I know.
To stop by.
Well, Stinky's such a good friend. Now, I've been down there every morning for the last 6 months.
So we need to discriminate who.
Haven't seen Stinky once.
There's a lot of people within
Well,
Yuba
that-
City government that title could apply to, right? Stinky.
Would be Stan Cleveland.
Oh,
Let's not
can
equivalent.
stand.
Can Stan Chuck Buck.
So check it out.
I believe Stan is a city councilman because he just needs a job,
Well, yeah.
and
Hanging
really.
sheetrock is tough. We know.
that's this
Blew
is
my
not a
elbow
qualification, in my opinion, for the job, just because you need a job. So,
Yeah.
And personally, like I see Grace Espindola. I mean, when I see her sign, it says, I mean, I see her sign, and the only thing I think is, in my mind, is that I'll do anything.
I think she's
For a job.
I think she's still living in Calusa, isn't she?
I don't know, but I know that she's
That's what I heard.
She's ran for Live Oak, right?
A
She
District
ran
1
for
supervisor.
When she was
Yeah.
living in Calusa.
Before we get too far, I want to back
So-
up one step because I was out putting out signs with Dave Shaw, and I've never been prouder because we met up with a few other people putting out signs, and one of them was a rooster sign, and we raced down to another spot, and we pulled up at the same time. I mean, there was almost a collision in the parking lot where we pulled into. So Dave gets out of his truck, runs over to his spot, stands in his spot where he wants his sign. We're grabbing poles and going over there. Well, another gentleman is going, no, we're going in right there. And to add to the bull story on his sign, Dave Shaw's standing there and he goes, we're not moving, buddy. And I come bebopping around the corner thinking, okay, this is going to get interesting. And you know what? Dave Shaw stood his ground. And it is exactly what we need for a city councilman to stand his ground against the staff over at City Hall. Mm-hmm. And he did that night right there, just stood his ground with the guy who was literally bowing up to, kind of threatening him. And he's like, nope, this is where we're going. And you know what? We can get down in the dirt and the gutter right here, buddy, but I'm staying.
So I'm thankful that you're elaborating on the sign program because I was unaware of it. I did not know that people would be out there, as soon as it was open up.
Well,
It's always like deer season,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And,
The signs don't put themselves up.
Yeah. No, I get that, but I didn't realize that people would be there, at
On
midnight.
it. Oh, yeah, man, on it.
Now,
So
you know what it's
that's
like?
news to me.
It's like Black Friday.
It really
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting
Yeah.
in line.
The stuff you see on TV at Black Friday, just
Yeah.
you got a different kind of crowd, but still kind of the same mentality,
And I didn't realize there was that much competition over the space.
Oh,
So,
man.
yeah.
No, you
Sign
It's
location
very
is
interesting
key.
to hear.
You weren't on bicycles, were
No,
you?
we
I mean,
weren't.
you didn't have to scoot those people out of the way.
No. But the thing is I we'll save it for another day.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you're putting up signs, it's aggressive work,
It's
right?
aggressive work. Yeah, I had to body check somebody, and it was
Really?
kind of fun. It was in a joking manner, but I did body check him because I'm like, it's just what you do whenever you're out putting up signs. It's a political campaign. It's a lot of fun.
It's definitely competitive.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And you know me, I don't mind a little
Yeah, hey.
competing in my life. I don't mind.
Competition is good.
Yeah, it keeps everybody healthy.
Yes.
Keeps you young.
Yes.
So was there any property damage during the signage?
The rooster guys.
You didn't
rooster-
hit water,
Not-
did you?
We didn't. I have hit a water before, and so I knew to stay away from the back of the curb. Well, apparently the rooster installer guys didn't know this little key point of putting out signs, and we got Dave Shaw's in, and we were moving on, and they hit a water line, and I mean, it got water all over everybody. Flooded the street. I mean, all over everybody. So they had to shut the water main, not the water main, but the irrigation main down. And it was pretty interesting.
So is the property owner responsible for all of that wasted water?
I don't know who's responsible, probably, but they'll have to pay to fix the water line itself. And they did get it shut down pretty quick. It wasn't a big lot of wasted water. They did do the due diligence, get it shut down quickly. It was actually Jim Whitaker who hit the water main with
Who?
Jim Whitaker was
Who?
setting out.
The county supervisor?
Jim Whitaker was setting out. What's his name?
Signs for Tom Rooster.
So Tom Rooster is who he was setting
Well,
the signs
how
out for.
interesting.
How could that be?
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
But what I find interesting is, I believe whenever we interviewed Tom Rooster that he said that Dirty Wit was not working on his campaign at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, not supporting him,
I
not
believe you're
endorsing
right.
him, not working for his campaign.
Had
So-
totally separated him.
Yeah, so maybe I don't think he would have lied to us.
Well,
I don't
could
think
that
would-
be what we call a fib?
Yeah, that would be a fib. No, it'd be.
I do remember him saying that.
The way he looked
when
us in the eye, I would call it an out and out lie.
Yeah.
I would say he just flat
He
ass
flat out
lied.
lied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing. A person would have a lot more integrity with me. We are all friends, right? We've lived here, especially us that have been lifelongers. So yeah, when you're asked a question and you completely look everybody in the eye and lie, you know, it would have served me a lot better if Tom would have said, you know what, Dirty Wit's my friend. And, you know, that's just the way it is. I might not like some of the actions that have been taken, but he's my friend. But he didn't do that.
No.
He was not straightforward. He was not transparent.
And that's disturbing.
And that's the whole thing is you cannot control what your friends do. It's just like each one of you, I'm sure, hasn't been embarrassed by me more than once. But the fact is you've always said, you know what, he's my friend. That's the way it is. You don't got to be responsible for your friend.
Keep on trucking, Jason. I don't get embarrassed too easy.
I know. I know. I got you. Okay. Apparently, we got a whole minute. We ain't got to break yet.
yeah.
Minute
So
and a half.
hate the sin, love the sinner.
There you go.
Amen.
Right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So-
and you know what? I mean, be his friend and say, you know, if you did it, come on, guy. You know, you got to fess up to it and get through your lumps, but just learn from it. But to totally deny it and say, I think that was what happened in the Bible with Jesus. Didn't they deny him? Didn't his friends deny him and be like, you know what? Yeah,
Yes.
not me.
Thrice, yeah.
Yes.
Not me. So, I don't know.
Three times before the rooster crowed.
Exactly.
And let's think back about the last person that had a Yuba City rooster or chicken on his sign.
You lost me, Liz.
Oh,
Your buddy that you hit up about water. We'll talk about that when we come back.
all part of the zoo.
We've got to run to the break now because we've got like 20 seconds.
Okay.
So we'll be right back after this, and we can talk about the rooster, I guess it
Yeah.
was.
Maybe we'll talk about this new Space Force in the military, too.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
Check out the Territorial Dispatch. Paper is a weekly and can be obtained free at distribution or by mail through subscription. It's the only locally owned and operated newspaper in the region. The paper is the rest of the story. And also check out the E-Territorial. It's an online version of the Territorial Dispatch which features local news and events for the Yuba Sutter, Colusa, and Nevada County areas. You'll also find daily and breaking news updates, current traffic, and weather information along with a calendar of local events. Visit the E-Territorial at eterritorial.com.
32-year-old Kate Steinle by an illegal alien convict is chilling testimony to how Gavin Newsom's sanctuary city values differ from the rest of us. I'm John Cox, father of 4 daughters and Republican candidate for governor. Incredibly, San Francisco refused to turn over to immigration authorities a criminal alien with 7 prior felony convictions. Instead, they put him back on the streets where he claims he just found a gun, fired at random, and killed a young woman walking with her dad. The shooter said it was an accident, so, of course, a San Francisco jury voted to acquit him. Like I said, different values. As governor, I promise you that on my first day in office, I will act to repeal Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom's sanctuary state and restore the rule of law. If you're ready to take California back, join me at johncoxforgovernor.com. I'm John Cox, Republican for governor.
Paid for by John.
This is Yuba County Sheriff Steve Durfer. I fully endorse Captain Brandon Barnes to be your next Sutter County Sheriff. I've worked with Captain Barnes for over 20 years. Brandon is a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy. He was our former SWAT commander and chief of investigations and now holds one of the highest positions in law enforcement as jail commander. He leads and manages a staff of over 80 personnel and an inmate population of almost 400. Folks, your sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in the county. Experience and character are critical. That's why 13 active California county sheriffs, including myself, endorse him. I am beyond confident that Captain Barnes has the skills, the temperament, and the vision to lead Sutter County. I believe this is the most important vote on your ballot. I encourage you to vote Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff 2018.
Hey,
And
you're
that-
listening to The Patriot, 1410 AM on your radio dial, 104.3 FM. The Patriot.
And that is exactly what we're looking for at that Republican Central headquarters. Republican
Working
headquarters is working together. We need Republicans from the Yuba and the Sutter counties to get over there and let's work together. A handful of us put it together. We don't care. We want all of us to work together to get this thing finished off and get it through the uprights and get some good events coming up.
Now, you may think because we diss Dennis that Brandon put us up to that. That's not anywhere close to the facts at all. We diss Dennis because Dennis dissed us.
Yep.
Okay, that's the plain and simple fact of it. He walked out on a forum that was between he and Jeff and Brandon. He made an accusation against Sheriff Richard Mack, as Tammy alluded to earlier last hour, and then he walked out without any giving Sheriff Mack a rebuttal, who was Skyped in at the time.
And also, Sheriff Richard Mack was standing with the Bundy Ranch, and when the federal government had swarmed over their place with snipers and drones and a total military operation against their place, against their ranch.
You know, he showed up
Yeah,
after the
yes,
after
him
the
and
fact.
many other American patriots went down there to stand with that family, and that family has been through the ringer
Yes, they
because of the federal overreach program in the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well
So-
as the Hammonds up in Oregon,
Yes.
and which he was also on his way to that location when their standoff was occurring, and he was going there to represent and support and help out in any way he could. So he has definite involvement with when citizens are being over. What do you call it?
Overrun,
Yeah, overrun.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go, by federal power. So, and he's also against the overrun by state power, and any power that's out of control.
So our sheriff, again, is the top law enforcement officer,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
In the county.
Yes.
And another thing that Dennis didn't do was he didn't attend the constitutional class, which Captain Brandon Barnes and
Jeff
Jeff
Pierce.
Pierce, Under Sheriff Pierce, both attended. You have another class coming up.
Yes, I do. On August 25th, it is a one-day seminar, 6 to 9, no, 9 to 3, 9 to 3 over the Church of Glad Tidings in Building 500, room 210, 212. It's called The Truth of America's Founding, Your Heritage and Mine. And yeah, we already have 2 candidates who have committed to going, and then somebody else came up and said they were going to go to, and I can't remember off the top of my head who that was. But I know that Mark Bloomgarden and Dave Shaw are lined up to go.
And all of you are invited. Every candidate that's running in Sutter, Yuba County are invited, and those currently in office are invited also.
And anybody listening is invited.
That's right.
Anybody that wants to broaden their horizon on the Constitution. You know.
Remember this guy? Do you remember this guy? Here he comes right now.
The county is stronger than the private property owner.
I don't think he's been to the class.
No,
he is not.
And he lost in his election. I
Yes,
believe.
He didn't make it through the primary.
I know, and I'm glad
Yes.
of it because wow.
Yeah.
We at the headquarters on Thursday night, we did have one current elected that did show up.
The rooster.
Yes.
The rooster.
Now,
Yes.
before
Now,
we
what
went to
do you
break,
mean
you
by
were
the rooster?
confused as far as whose sign the rooster was on. So make that clarification, because we thought you were going to be talking about Sean Harris, but you were confused. You thought it was a different candidate.
Yes, I own it. I was confused ever since the accident.
It's left her in shambles.
But we do have
You're
something
killing
to
me,
talk about
Liz.
Sean Harris, because I think that Tom, you had a
Tom had a conversation with him. Yeah. Well, Tom had a conversation with him.
I had a conversation with myself, really, because I don't recognize all these public servants as well as some of the other people that I'm running with do. And so I was there in the lobby with Liz, and we were just shooting the breeze, and her husband, Carl. And then he walked in, and you introduced him. And I thought, well, this guy's a city councilman. So I had just got my water bill that day, and my water bill, man, is getting higher and higher and higher, you know. And I mean, I think it was $230. Now, granted, we have a garden and we have a lawn, you know. We still going to water our lawn.
And grow your own food.
Yeah, and I believe we got plenty of water too. Okay, so and I know they need the money for their pensions. Okay, and I've read their propaganda material that came in the water bill. Okay, but it's getting out of control. I mean, my PG&E bill was $20, so. And my water bill is $230. So I simply said, I got my water bill today, and I asked him, why are you raping us so bad? And that was the end of the conversation. He did not reply. So that was pretty much it, and I went on my merry way.
Well, you know, okay.
Well, in all fairness, now he wasn't there to vote on the water.
No, I
He
know,
wasn't
but
in
I
at
mean,
that point, but he could have expounded on it.
if
Yeah.
you're a public servant and you are involved in public policy and raising everybody's rates and
City
taxes
government.
and stuff
you
like
should
that,
at least respond.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got to be ready to give an answer. And hey,
He gave you an answer.
yeah, he gave an
Can we hear that answer?
He turned away. Now I remember also we had a forum, and it was been several years ago, maybe a couple years ago, where we had the Department of Public Works director at a Tea Party forum.
event, yeah.
Yeah. And I asked her if she could tell me who owned the water in California. And then she went on and talked about this and that, and I said, ma'am, you didn't answer the question. Who owns the water in California? And here's what she said. I'm not going to answer that question.
How come?
Yeah.
She didn't know the answer, that the people own the water.
Yeah. Yeah, but she just refused to answer the question. You know, so this is the kind of arrogance that these overpaid
Maybe she
you
just
know,
simply
hippies
didn't
are-
know.
are,
Maybe she didn't know.
I think
Oh,
she
come
knew
on.
and she didn't want to say.
Yes.
She knew.
Yes.
You know, Tom, you're pretty close to levee down there. You might be able to run a pipe. You know, just draw out right out of the river.
Yeah.
You know,
I might, and you know, I might even be able to siphon it all the way from the river.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right there.
reverse
You know,
some of that hot air of these politicians.
I have heard a rumor that in the mysterious Sutter County grand jury report that there
no
is
report.
yeah,
The
there's
no
a
report
section
report.
in there that addresses the water rates
Yes.
and the absolute rise. I can't. It's opinion. It's what's that word we use? Alleged?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, that's in that report that
Yeah,
we're still
well,
trying to get a hold of.
I would sure like to see it one day, and I believe we will.
I think we will. We're
think
getting
it belongs to
closer
the
and
people.
closer
It belongs
and
to the
closer.
people.
It does belong to the people, and there are no kings in Sutter County. Judges may think they're kings, but they're not.
Well, we don't have a grand jury. We have a grand judge, right?
Yes.
Hey, I listened to Live with Lou yesterday.
Well, he was
great
bananas
program.
on that, yeah.
But what was kind of struck me funny is on my email. When I send you an email, at the bottom, there's a few little slogans similar to Liz's. I mean, we all got our little slogans that we like. And one of them says, juries exist because judges can't be trusted.
That's
Judge
right.
it. Yeah, right.
Yes. And the other one says, California is a communist country.
Yes.
Okay. And then I can't remember what the third one was.
And the Politburo is in charge in Yuba Sutter County.
Those that exchange freedom for safety will have neither. Yes. So those are my 3 lines on my email. And
So our friend Lou Benninger, who I thought his show yesterday was exceptional,
yeah.
right?
But you know what? He said the same thing that I have on my email in his program. He said the judge thinks he's we don't have a grand jury. We got
grand judge.
a grand judge. Yes.
Yeah.
And he also did say California is a communist country. So
It's bad.
So I got a kick out of that. I'm thinking, my goodness, man, we really think alike there, Lou.
We finally got some action out of our Sutter County supervisors.
Really?
Matt Conant and Dan Flores, and I think Matt's your supervisor and Dan's mine, and I didn't even have to call him. I didn't have to poke him with a stick or anything to get him to do that, which is, you might have poked him. I don't know. I didn't talk to him.
But I know what you're talking about. I read it in the paper, right?
Yeah, they sent a letter to this Becerra.
Yep. Xavier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Attorney General, that's the term I was looking for.
The AG. So there was an review in the daily paper today. Did any of you catch that?
Did not.
Haven't read the paper today. No.
They basically, whoever's writing that, I think Bill and I know, Steve Miller, it's their view that, the county's not responsible. Those supervisors aren't responsible for the release of that grand jury report. But you know what? I've heard now that they sent a letter to the Attorney General, Xavier Becerra, right? And that they're outraged. But still, nothing's happening.
Well,
Well, they're outraged.
The wheels of government grind very slowly, right?
They grind.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
I mean, this guy, the Attorney General, when will he actually...
He's going to get right on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Read it. So, the public outcry needs to get louder.
We need to keep complaining.
Yes.
We're complaining.
Now, somebody else jumped out there in front and tried to lead the parade, too, and that was our local our local assemblyman, Young James. Young James, you're backing the person you're complaining about, and now you're trying to jump out and lead the charge. It doesn't look good.
Now, I think you've heard the term AWOL.
Yes.
AWOL. I think James is AWOL because I haven't seen him in a long time.
No.
Maybe I'm just not moving in the right circle.
We haven't seen Mr. Nielsen either.
Yes. So we're going to put out an invitation to James Gallagher and Mr. Nielsen.
We call Curtis Grima.
And Curtis Grima, yeah.
How long's that been, Jason?
To come to our constitutional Republican headquarters.
I believe it was a week ago today.
Was it a week? Yeah.
But you know what? He's busy. I understand that it's campaign season. We'll give him a call again this week.
But Jason, it's always campaign season.
I
for
realize,
the assemblyman.
I realize that. I understand that. But I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because here's the deal. He is our Republican candidate. We do have the Republican headquarters. He needs to come see us. And, I understand he's busy, but in the next week or two, we should be hearing something back. He should be coming to see us. I don't think he's gonna, shaft us because we're the only game in town. We're the only one in Yuba and Sutter counties. We're the only Republican headquarters. It would be a crying shame if he basically said out loud that I don't need Yuba and Sutter counties votes, so I'm not going to come to that headquarters and give you some signs and give you some literature to hand out for me. I don't see him doing that.
Me neither.
So he'll come. He'll be there. It's just a matter of getting a hold of him. And, me and Curtis Grima, we've all kind of had a rub before. It's not a big deal. Curtis, listen, buddy.
We love you, Curtis.
5 minutes after we had it, it was over, buddy. It is what it is. We're not always going to see eye to eye. If we did, I would think less of you, because the fact is we're all men. We don't see eye to eye all the time. So don't think it's a one-time deal. We're going to have more rubs that we don't get along all the time. But the fact is, I respect you for it. So it is what it is. But the fact is we do have the only Republican headquarters around.
Yeah, and I forgave him for his intimidation program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was you.
Yes.
It was you.
I forgive him for his intimidation program.
Well, it was multiple people, and we just stomped it. And you know what? You get a big head, and sometimes you got to get it knocked around a little bit. It happens. It's the way it goes. I get one, then I get it knocked around quite a bit at home. But you know what? The fact is that I mellow out,
Hey.
and it's a good day.
Yeah.
for
And when
somebody else.
Tammy wears that stick out, we'll give her another one.
Yeah.
So
But
back to the
that's just-
grand jury
That's
report.
part of the game, right?
So what we figured out in the last week is that jury doesn't need a judge
No.
to bless their report,
No.
right? So bring it.
Yeah.
And we also found out, I believe, that allegedly it was signed.
Yes.
The report
It was
was
signed.
signed
That was-
before it
yeah.
went to county
The initial
council
report
and went out to
was signed.
to all the other county employees that were named in it. It had to be signed before they could see it. So it was signed.
Yep.
So what happened to all the signed copies?
So that original report, the one that they wrote, they did put their names to it. They signed it. What they didn't sign was all the altered reports that were put forth after that Judge Aronson, the grand judge, wanted them to sign. They refused to sign any altered versions. But that original report
Because it wasn't
was
their
signed.
report. Yeah.
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 I don't think Judge Aronson was willing to put his name at the bottom of the altered reports.
I like what Lou said yesterday on his program. He said, I had somebody that wanted me to change my letter to the editor. And he says, fine, you change it and put your name on the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I just thought of something, and I got to back up for a minute. I said that was the first offer we've had when we're going to do these T-shirts up of somebody, helping us out on the show and giving us whatever you want to call it, a donation for the shirts. But it isn't. John Missler with the Territorial Dispatch is putting us together a little ad every week.
Oh, yeah.
So he was actually the first to help us out on the show. So thank you, John. We forgot about that. And so thank you. I just didn't want to forget about you. I just was thinking that's how my mind goes. Kind of like
Follow the
fireworks.
squirrel.
Kind of like fireworks.
Oh, fireworks.
Going everywhere.
Fireworks. Give us an update.
Oh, fireworks. So I went and had my whatever it
Kangaroo
was.
court.
Kangaroo court deal. And apparently the attorney said, my attorney that I have now, that's how far out of whack it's got. Anyways, said that I never once in the kangaroo court said that I didn't do it. Well, the fact is it's their job to prove me guilty, not me to prove my innocence. I don't know how backwards Yuba City has gotten, but apparently you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent, which goes everything against what our founders thought and everything I believe.
Everything
But
in the Constitution.
Well,
Exactly.
your attorney didn't say that. He said that's what the city said.
Exactly.
That's what the city's whole...
Let me finish
Okay.
real quick. So what happened is I went in, did the whole thing. The fire marshal wrote on the ticket after I'd signed it. After I'd signed it, wrote out that it was an order to pay. So apparently if I wouldn't have paid it, they really couldn't have done much. But I'm an honest guy. I got a ticket. I want to pay it because I want to be able to appeal, right? So he didn't check that box, so that was checked after I had signed it. So if I wouldn't have paid, I wouldn't have had, they couldn't have done anything. Then he filled out the ticket with about another whole paragraph of other stuff on the ticket, on the front of the ticket.
You can't do that.
Oh, no. They do it all the time.
They do it all the time.
That's what they say.
That's what they said in the kangaroo court. They do it all the time. And I looked at him and I go, well, it doesn't make it right. Well, they didn't care. Kangaroo court. They don't care. You're guilty. So they did find me liable for the fireworks that didn't happen. Anyways, so I called a friend and showed him the tickets, and they're going, yeah, they can't do that. Well, they happen to be an attorney. So they went ahead and they said, let me just go talk to the city council. We'll get this resolved because they're not that ignorant that they're going to make you go to court to get this back. So they set up a meeting, met with Sean Harris. Apparently the meeting went with, yeah, they can't do that. Yeah, there's about 6 items here that are wrong on this ticket. And let me go talk to Steve Krager over at the city council. Over at the city manager. Sean Harris was going to go speak to him. Supposed to hear back last Thursday. Well, last Thursday rolled around. They called him back and said, well, you're right, but they don't want to do anything about it. You're going to have to appeal it with the Superior Court. So guess what? It's $25. Do they really not think that I'm going to, if I've got an attorney.
Hope you don't get Aronson.
who is pro bono, that is doing this out of the goodness of his heart because he sees something that is actually wrong with the city, that I'm not going to pay the $25 to do this? Are you serious right now? So this week we got to file our appeal with the Superior Court, and now I paid $1,000, but by the time we get all through this, it's going to be well over $1,000 of my time, of the city's time, of everybody else's time that we're going to go through this, and then they're going to have to give my money back anyways. This is the real kicker. It's unbelievable to me how much money they're willing to spend to prove a point that they have no proof over.
Right.
The bottom line is, though, they're not spending their money.
No,
They're
not
spending your money.
Yes.
And the fact is you did not put an attorney on retainer, right? You had a friend that said, hey, let me just go down and let's try to hash this out. And didn't the city say that since you have legal counsel,
Yes,
that they can no longer talk to you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And
Because-
therefore, you have to go through the grand judge over there at Superior Court.
Because I chose to defend myself rather than just take it. Now they can no longer talk to me. I have to go to a judge. It's asinine.
You
And
better
here-
be careful, Jason. You want to know what? Amanda Hopper may just decide to prosecute that and take it to jury trial.
Well, that's okay. I could handle a jury trial. I believe a jury trial I would be found innocent. but here's the issue that I just can't get my head around is somebody just texted in. They're going to spend money to fight me.
Yeah.
City Hall
No,
is
they're
going
gonna
But it's
spend
not their
our
money.
Exactly.
to fight
They're going to spend our money, the citizens' money, to fight me over this rather than just say, yeah, we got it. We hired an idiot and we're going to have to fess up to that. Rather they'd send it to court and have it public record that they hired an idiot.
Well, okay, so is that guy, is this going to continue to happen with the guy that writes the citations and then continues to write on them after they've been signed? And
Well, apparently they do it all the time. So, yeah.
According
That's
to
what
them.
you were told,
The
right?
question
They said.
is that's what they do all the time. So, yeah, that's going to
So
happen.
this case may establish a precedent.
And do you know what, Jason? I do believe they do it all the time.
It's amazing to me
And the
that
courts,
this is where we've come to.
Yeah. And you got to prove yourself innocent. You're guilty until proven innocent anymore.
But check it out.
That's
I'm not guilty anymore. I paid to get myself out of Hawk. So I'm not in Hawk in any way, shape, or form. The only thing is the city is now on the hook. So now they need to prove that I'm guilty. But you know what? It cost me $1,000 to get them to come out and say, well, now we got to prove that you're guilty.
can we do a Freedom of Information Act on how many staff hours are going to be spent trying to,
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
yeah.
To just see at what's going to have to happen to do this, to give my money back, and how much it's going to cost the city taxpayers to do this. And you guys, I'm sorry, but I just can't roll over for this. I can't do it. So
You know,
again, it comes to being my friend, sometimes it's a kicking and, kicking the groin
And
because
that's
you're my
the
buddy.
City council. I mean, it's the same way with Kumar.
Yeah.
City council could have turned that 16-ounce beer around in 2 weeks.
Yep.
But no, it took him, 2.5 years?
And now,
And he had to go pay more to get it done.
Stan Cleveland wants a pat on the back for it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, that's why it's time to can Stan and Chuck Huck.
Hey.
Or Huck
Chuck Buck.
Chuck Huck, sorry.
Chuck Buck.
Chuck Buck.
How much would Chuck of a woodchuck could Chuck wood? Oh, boy. We're just off the hook.
Hey, that's politics today, man. Right? That's the bottom line, right? That's politics.
But it's fun. It's a good time. Hang on. I got to play go ahead. I got a minute. I got to find it now.
Are we going to
Okay,
talk
well,
about LD1 and 9?
Yeah, we'll get on to that. Just a refresher about Marysville, and we'll mention again next week. But Marysville, the state of Jefferson, and a couple of us in particular have been after both cities and both counties to sign anti-sanctuary resolutions for their respective governments. And from my understanding, Marysville, not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday following, will vote on an anti-sanctuary resolution.
So I'm going to just put this in here. Now, this is just from myself, okay? So this week I'm watching television, and they're saying that they're going to have this new branch of the military called the Space Force. Okay, you got the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. Now you're going to have the Space Force. Now, for me, when I see that, I might not be thinking like a lot of people. The thought comes to my mind is, is there any place sacred that you don't want to start a war?
Well,
Good grief. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm all for the Space Force.
Yeah.
We should have had a Space Force in 1970 when we gave up, or 71 when we gave up going to the moon.
Well, the thing is, they used to refer to that forthcoming branch as the Space Command.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden they're calling it Space Force. And the thing that kind of alerted people a little bit of, what are they doing with this was Pence's comments. He was referring to space as like this,
like the Air Force,
like a war zone.
Yeah, okay.
It was the tone of his, and specifically what he said. And I was trying to look up right away what his exact quote was, but it was peculiar that he would refer to space as being some kind of adversarial something or other.
So for me, man, it's just like another battlefield. Good grief! I'm going to call Captain Kirk.
I've always
maybe he can help me.
Tell him to beam you up.
Beam me up, Scotty.
I've always maintained that if
thank you, Liz. I want to be beamed up.
Instead of spending trillions of dollars on a great society that hasn't helped a bit, and just imbued people into slavery. Instead of spending that money on the Great Society, they should have spent the money on going to the moon. We'd already had established a moon base and possibly a base on Mars. We would have had an industry up there, be mining the moon for all the precious metals and whatever else.
And we can use them all for the military-industrial complex.
There you go.
There you go.
And then we could have a Space Force, a real one.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we'll still be on the plantation.
That's right.
That's
Okay,
the
here
way,
we go.
that's the way I
Back
see
to
it.
Earth. Back to Earth.
Back to Earth, people. Beam me down, Scotty. Beam me down.
Weren't you going to play something?
Oh, yeah, I got it found. Well, last week we talked about the First Amendment, so we're going to play a clip for the Second Amendment. Here we go. Maybe.
The natural and God-given right of self-defense is perfectly summed up by the Second Amendment, part of America's fundamental law, which regulates all our civil government institutions. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Definitive, bright, unequivocal, and by no stretch of the imagination is the Second Amendment confusing.
Tragically, many criminal laws and regulations have been made by charlatan politicians who see citizens as cattle with no right to defend themselves, while they are fully protected as benevolent masters.
This past weekend's tragedies in Chicago, where at least 59 people were shot and 8 died during a massive outbreak of violence, have materialized this Orwellian-era thought process in a city whose leadership brags of some of the most comprehensive gun regulations in our country. It troubles me as I continue to notice many anti-American sentiments around the topic of innocent Americans protecting themselves. None of these sentiments are logical, none of them are ethical, and certainly none of them have prevented weapons from taking the life of the innocent they are claiming to protect.
George Washington believed the very atmosphere of firearms anywhere and everywhere restrains evil interference. They deserve a place of honor with all that is good. Allow me to cite an example of just how effective this founding father's wisdom is. This Saturday, while murders had free rein in Chicago, shots rang out in Titusville, Florida, where an individual opened fire at a park during a back-to-school event. However, a bystander who was licensed to carry a firearm shot the gunman, who was then taken to a hospital with life-threatening injuries, according to the police.
Local police expressed gratitude to the bystander for taking action to ensure the gunman didn't injure or kill anyone. We are extremely grateful that nobody else was injured in this incident, said Deputy Chief Todd Hutchinson. This suspect opened fire at a crowded public park. This could have been so much worse.
As seen in every single mass shooting, the government is completely incapable of protecting the citizenry from these kinds of attacks. If the people do not protect themselves, there is no protection. All gun control laws accomplish is to fight or obstruct the people from protecting themselves.
This is why state leaders have an obligation to declare any and all federal gun control laws to be null and void, and boldly declare to the people of their states that they will honor and protect the people's right and duty to defend themselves. Since the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and since the Second Amendment declares that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, gun control measures are not law. Let me repeat, gun control measures are not law. This is Jake McCauley
and Dominic McCauley
with the Institute on the Constitution, bringing you the American View.
So, what stops a bad guy with a gun?
A good guy with a gun.
Huh. Imagine that.
Hey, that was pretty sweet. And I think that Dominic is a young son of his.
Yeah,
Yes.
the state's oldest son. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yes. So that's nice.
4 words, pretty straightforward, huh?
Yes.
Shall not be infringed.
Yeah.
Too late.
5 there.
It's pretty easy to
Take out.
understand. But yeah, that was well done. Well done. Beautiful. Hey, I don't know if we can.
Oh, Liz was going to talk about LD1 and LD9.
Okay.
Was that meeting just last Monday?
That's Levy District 1.
Right,
Yeah.
Levy District
Yeah.
1 and Levy District 9. We attended a meeting last Monday morning at the crack of dawn,
Yes.
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
That's lunchtime for me, guys.
I know, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't for
I
Bill.
had to wait around for 4 hours.
It's lunchtime for you, huh, Jason?
Yeah, I actually took the day off to finish up the Republican headquarters.
Wow.
So yeah, I'd been working for a few hours already by then.
Anyway, sorry for the interruption.
That's okay.
My
So
apologies.
the meeting was at the supervisors' chambers. The actual, it's the Hall of Records. I think I posted when I checked into Facebook that I was at the Hall of Records, and somebody asked me if I had a new job. Yeah. I have a job all the time. It's a fact-finding mission to battle the corruption in
And you're
Sutter
good
County.
at it, Liz. You're good at it.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know about that. Yeah. Public enemy number 1 in Sutter County.
You need a raise.
So what came of that meeting? I remember we had some conversations following that meeting. I think I did with Bill. at
Well,
least.
yeah, Mr. Drew Stresser, he's very stressful.
He's the manager.
He's the
Of
manager
Levy
of
District
LD1,
1.
right, yeah. And I told him, I spoke to him and said, maybe if you'd announced this a week earlier and said there was going to be several meetings, people wouldn't have been so up in arms and antagonistic against you. But he didn't take that too well.
Or perhaps they changed their minds after the up in arms.
Well, it said, we couldn't do that because it's just happening today. So I guess all the board members just saw that this morning, or that very morning, minutes before they voted yes on it. So I guess they're quick readers.
Well, you got to pass it to know what's in it.
Yes.
We know that.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So, Levy District 1 and Levy District 9, ultimately what they want to do is form
A
JPA.
which is a Joint Powers Authority, which is really sticks in my craw because I've had about enough authority from all these authoritarians.
There was a really
Me
interesting
too.
speaker that got up by the name of Francis Coates.
Frank Coates, yes.
Mhm. And he raised some really interesting points. Basically, he said that it was illegal.
LD1's Creation Act, yes, made this type of a thing illegal. But that didn't seem to bother any of the board members. And
I thought it was interesting how the attorneys were bringing forth their plan, but as members of the audience got up and were talking about, we have a problem that the Oversight Committee, the Citizens Advisory Committee was
disbanded,
fired. And they said, well, we have very little knowledge of Sabufka or the Citizens Advisory Committee, right?
Yes.
But then one of the board members of LD1, all he talked about was Sabufka.
Yes. And there was no...
Can you break that down into my terms here? He was saying that the people are too stupid on the committee, the watchdog committee.
No, they weren't. They didn't say that they were stupid.
I think they were saying they got too close to something.
They were asking the right questions.
Uh-huh.
They were asking the right questions, and so they were disbanded.
Okay.
So what happened to the grand jury?
I thought you were saying that
The same deal.
they disbanded them because they just weren't sharp enough to figure that kind of stuff out.
Actually, the grand jury resigned. The Citizens Advisory Committee, or CADAC for Sutter County, was
disbanded. Yeah.
Fired. They were fired. They were eliminated. They were rendered voiceless.
Same result. In both cases, the people are silenced.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We need to bring back the Citizens Advisory Committee.
I think we need to bring back many of them.
Yeah. I mean, when we just don't have oversight.
Hey,
Well,
we have the Citizens Advisory Committee.
Right here.
You betcha. All it takes is for people to get involved.
Yes.
Yeah. And
We need to reassert the authority of the people.
It's hard to be involved when you're taking your kids to school or, going to your work. You got to take a
But that was the
morning
only
class.
time
Yes.
that they could get a quorum. Now, how much Barbara Streisand is that?
Well,
BS.
they're pretty
That's-
damn busy, Liz.
That's the only time they could get a quorum, and then I believe it was also illegal because the meeting was posted, but the meeting was supposed to be at LD1.
Yes.
And they moved it to the Hall of Records, right?
Yes.
But one of the board members was just adamant. We post those meetings. We post those meetings. No, not in like the Appeal Democrat or the Territorial Dispatch. Where they post their meetings is in the window of LD1 and LD9.
And everybody goes past that, right? Isn't that down? Where is that?
Yeah, we make a special trip just to read the window.
All the homeless people pass by it once or twice a day.
And it was amazing to me that they knew so little about Sabufka, but all the Sabufka people were there.
Well,
So Sabufka is the Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency.
we're not there to talk about Sabufka now. That's what they told the audience.
Yeah, but that's all they
Of course,
talked
that's
about.
all they talked about.
That's all they talked about. And then,
And I told
then
the
on-
attorney, I said, that was pretty wrong. You say we're not going to talk about Sabufka, and then you let the board members talk about it. Well.
Not to say, the levy districts have done a lot of good things, right?
Yes.
They have. But, it's just not enough. They are reaching into our pockets again. What did you call that, Thomas? Eating
out our substance. Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
So remember now, in Sutter County, we are into year 5 of a 33-year assessment. 33. But what they want to put forward now, which they said on Monday, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And then on Wednesday at 1 p.m. at the Sutter Butte Flood Control Agency, they did it.
They did it.
They did it. So, people, start making some noise. I realize 8 o'clock is an inconvenient time, but that's the way they want it. 1 p.m.
And these assessments, you landowners in Sutter County, these are going to rest on you.
For the rest of your life.
That's right. And the people that rent, they're going to rest on your landlords, and your rent's going to go up. So you really need to get involved. There is no end to government if you just let them run over you at every step.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're calling out for help, right?
Help.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: the why our original purpose, at least mine, my whole purpose in life now is to educate people on the Constitution, because you have to understand what your level of authority is, what your role is in this civil arena. And that's what people aren't grasping. They don't understand that.
People, you are in charge.
You are in charge. Yes. And once the people realize that, it'll be like the ants and the grasshoppers and the bug's life. So I want to read to you from my flyer to give you a little insight on what this upcoming seminar is going to entail. So this is a one-day seminar, and it's a prelude to our 12-week course. So we're kind of taking that 12-week course and condensing it down. But in this one-day seminar, it'll reveal the original intent of American law and government in the words of the founders themselves, not revisionist opinions as found in modern textbooks. So we're going to examine our founding documents within the context of primary sources in order to restore and preserve our constitutional republic. The concept of limited government, as envisioned by our founding fathers, will be revealed to you as you learn the truth of America's founding and come to understand the U.S. Constitution in its proper application. So we first have to lay down the foundation so you're introduced to the within the context of the founders at that time. So we go to their own writings. We go to the letters they wrote to one another, the Federalist Papers, the published works of the time, and we use the dictionary of that era.
Right.
We use the Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary to define our terms. We don't, reflect back with today's knowledge saying, oh, well, I think they meant this. They didn't really mean
any of that.
Yeah, they didn't really mean shall not be infringed. The word all doesn't really mean all. No. We have to analyze what the word all means. They certainly didn't mean all.
Maybe we need that guy running for city council, Westmoreland, to help us dummies understand those words, huh?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a law degree, you can't understand the Constitution.
Well, that's what we were told by the now candidate Westmoreland running for city council.
Where are his signs?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't seen.
I'm not too worried about it,
though. Westmoreland or that other guy that said that, that what's his name, Dave Shaw was the short straw.
Oh, Stacy Brookman.
Yeah, where the heck are his signs?
Yeah, what's up with him having an opinion like that already? Or I guess it's not him, maybe one of his supporters. But calling Dave Shaw the short straw when this guy isn't even out of the gates. He doesn't have any brochures.
He doesn't even have a straw.
He has no straw. Where's his straw at?
I mean, come on. You guys need to get on the ball.
If you got a straw, you're going to get fined anyway.
Exactly. Hard time, man.
Well,
only if they can trace the serial number on it.
we've got just a few minutes left, so we have it basically endorsed a few candidates now, through the Republican headquarters and the Yuba Sutter political spotlight. The Yuba Sutter political spotlight is geared up behind Brandon Barnes like no tomorrow. And then the Republican headquarters, who are they backing at this point? Is it just two city councilmen?
Well, David Shaw for one, for sure, and Mark Boomgarden we are endorsing through the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans. We are also going to be endorsing Mike Ziegenmeyer. We need to get him back in the studio to get his commercial up and running.
We need to get all three of those guys in here to do their commercial. I'm hoping we can get them in here this week.
Even though we don't have a dog in the fight.
Even though we don't have a dog in the fight, we are endorsing John Missler's write-in campaign, and we're going to be really focusing on that because that's going to need a lot of
work. Yes.
Yuba County, get out there.
Yep.
Make me proud. I'm a Yuba County son.
So if you need some signs for those guys, you need some brochures for those guys, stickers, whatever you need, come by, check us out at the Republican headquarters over in Yuba City at
441 Bridge Street.
Yes.
Sweet Elephant.
Yes,
Sweet
Elephant. Sweet Elephant.
Not like Sweet Life.
Not like Sweet Life at all.
No, we have Sweet, SUITE, where Chuck Buck is SWEET, life.
Well,
and we're soon
but
to have.
No, it was still SUIT.
Yeah, it was
because
SUIT.
He was in there.
You're right.
He was in their deluxe suite, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but
So-
we're soon to have the Chuck Buck and Can Stand shirts available. Trump wear is available.
Yeah,
I could not
anybody
believe
can
the
reach
amount.
out. We can hook people up with Trump wear any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yes,
Just
it's amazing.
give me a
how
call.
much. And I mean, it isn't the normal stuff that you've seen anywhere else. We have a lot of exclusive Trump wear that you haven't seen anywhere, I promise, because I've looked at a lot of it, and the stuff we've got is unbelievably good.
Well, and we had a buyer who came in and he said, I got a hat like this one, and it wasn't the one that he got, but he got one like you want. That's going to be the number one seller, so we are going to need more of those. But he said the quality here is I paid more for less.
Wow.
So
Not
with
at our
us,
place.
That's right. You get more for less.
Yes.
Do you have any Trump spandex wear?
Trump don't do spandex.
We got some Speedos. Is that what you're after, Tom?
Oh, no, I'm just wondering, I
Trump
just thought I'd
skinny
throw
jeans?
that out there.
No Trump skinny jeans.
That evening, David Shaw really impressed me with the questions he asked Reditas.
Yeah.
Was it Reditas? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was
Those were a
appreciative of him
couple
putting those questions
strong
forward.
questions. And people, if you want Yuba City ran right,
David Shaw.
David Shaw is
David
your
Shaw for
person.
sure. And I was really impressed with Mark Boomgarden. I really was after the night of the grand opening when he was there, and spent a little time talking to him in person. Really impressed with the guy. For what he's done as a fire chief, and been the fire chief, been the big dog. He's very, very humble.
Yes.
He did say that he was going to take no compensation.
He's repeatedly said that.
Yes. So my ears perked up a little bit. I mean, I believe he's been compensated very well in the public arena.
Well, what we know is their heart's in the right place with these candidates that we've selected so far, with both Boomgarden and Shaw. We know that they're interested in this position for the right reason, not for the paycheck, not for the whatever title. There's just they have just the good of the community in mind.
They're not looking for another job.
Yes.
They have a dog in the fight.
Exactly. They're not looking for another job.
Now, for me personally, when I see certain candidates out there that have been bouncing around, trying to get a job here, any political arena they can,
Yeah.
I got total no respect for that.
Like the Stan Clevelands, who's okay.
Yes.
I've been a supervisor over here. Okay, now I'm going to jump over and I'm going to be a councilman over here. And then Grace Espandola, who knows where she came from and why she came here. We know she didn't even live in the jurisdiction when she ran for Sutter County supervisor, and now we're not even positive she lives in the jurisdiction running for Yuba City Council. I mean, she just wants a title.
Well, you know what she got at the Yuba Sutter Fair? She said she got a corn dog, a Coke, and cotton candy. And she deserved it.
What?
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Well,
I deserve it. I'm sick of that line too, man.
Now be careful, because we still got to interview her. What if we interview her if we really like her?
She's a really nice person.
Oh, well, so is Dennis. We really like him.
Dennis is a good guy.
Hey,
Well,
That really
he is a good guy, really wants to be sheriff, but he made some huge mistakes with the wrong people.
That's right.
And it's for those very simple reasons.
Yeah, and politics is tough, man.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Don't burn your bridges.
But, you know, I mean, I'm just telling you from my perspective, when I see Grace Espindola's sign and knowing that she's ran for this and ran for that, you know, I'm thinking, you know, she's just looking for a position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Just want to be in charge.
Yeah.
I want to be in charge of something.
I want some recognition. I need some name recognition. I need this. I need, you know, these are the thoughts that I have. Now, maybe, you know, someone's pumping subliminal messages into my head.
And what's nice is whenever we invite these people, because we're going to do the rest of the candidate interviews before the end of next week. So we got 2 more weeks to finish them up. Yeah. And we're going to invite every one of them. So we're going to invite, you know, Tuck, or whatever his name is. I can't even.
Chuck Buck.
Yeah, Chuck Buck and Ken Stan. I'm getting tongue twisted here. But we're going to invite those guys too.
We're going to give him a drink and straighten him out here in a minute.
What's nice is that they know, if they're listening to the show, they know what we're saying about them. We don't care. We don't hide it. I mean, we're going to tell them when we see them anyways. But it'll be interesting to see if they're actually going to show up to the showdown, or whether they're just going to be like Hal can run from the showdown because guess what? I don't want to go there.
You got to show up to the showdown, man.
I know somebody who says that.
Yes. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they show up to the showdown or whether they just shine us on and don't come and try and at least defend themselves.
Hey, if you're worried about your feelings in this political arena,
you're in the
wrong pen, man. That's the way it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if we're wrong, tell us.
Yeah.
And tell us why we're wrong.
Yeah. And we're not going to let our feelings get hurt.
I don't know. I'm pretty fragile.
Yeah. Yeah, you're pretty fragile.
I know. My feelings get hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I want to mention, too, before we run out of time is Roditas, I believe he talked about this service tax. They're always pushing for the service tax.
The fee.
Yeah, the fee, where they want to tax all labor.
Yes.
In California. I mean, good grief, is there anything sacred left?
No, after that, there is nothing.
Yeah. So they want to tax everything you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to play the Beatles tax man when I leave here again.
Yeah.
You know, they tax your feet, they tax the street. It's just ridiculous. So I'm sure that they're working on a plan to tax the sun here before too long.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, they're putting the stuff into place. Believe me, with the latest and greatest. Go ahead.
So if it gets
system
smoky, if it gets smoky and we don't get that much sun, are we going to get a reduction in the sun tax?
No.
Oh, the taxes don't go backwards.
No.
Oh yeah,
You're confused.
Thank you for clarifying that, Jason.
You know, really quick, because we are running out of time. A notable birthday last week that I thought was really cool that everybody has forgotten. Smokey the Bear. Do you remember Smokey the Bear? He turned 74 years old last week. They poached that poor guy years ago, and
I love Smokey.
Wasn't? Yeah. Well, you got Smoke, but we lost Smokey.
Yeah. Oh, he passed on?
No,
Oh.
they put him in a box, and we got the EPA.
Yes.
And the tinderbox that is known now as California.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smokey was the head.
He's
leader
been
of
incarcerated, I think. That's what I heard. He was incarcerated.
I think he moved to Idaho.
He might have moved to Idaho.
He might have moved to Idaho. All right, I'm going to leave you with this. Republicans, Yuba Sutter, we have the headquarters.